Are there some other areas in the budget where you think some cuts can be made that will keep us in balance? Particularly, as you pointed out, there's going to be between a $1.5 million and a $2.5 million shortfall in revenues. Where can we make that up? Where are the cuts that we can make to make that up?
Well, and that's going to be tough. I really believe this is going to be our most difficult year to get through. Last year, we asked every department to cut their budget by 30%. That's huge. Also, if you know, for the last 3 years I've been mayor, no one's received a raise. They gave up their admin time recently. No more vacation buyback. No more bilingual pay. No more overtime. Employees are taking 8 hours of furlough a month. So we've made some major cuts. This year we're asking departments to cut their budgets by another 10%. I have already looked at the mayor and council budget, and I've already cut our budget by 10% more. I think that my fear is we like to give great services to the people. We like to think that we're there for you. You know, in years past, our community, through the grant program, has come to the city, whether it's our arts community or whether it's We Care or the veterans, and we have given considerable amounts of money, probably $60,000 up to $94,000. It would break my heart, but you know, now's the time to be looking at things like that. Do we keep the pool open? Do we cut the pool down and only have it open certain days of the week? Are there programs in the rec center that we could cut? Do we have to raise the implement a fee for people eating at the senior center? You know, I'm not going to know until we actually get the final figures from the county on how much of a hit we're going to take. I know that Dave Empey and Tim are currently working with all the departments to find out areas where they can be cut. But even I, as a mayor or council, we haven't received all of that data from Dave Empey or Tim. They're mired in the midst of it. But we're going to look at it very, very carefully. I'm very proud. Dave Empey has been a great financial director for the city for years. It's good that we've got our reserves. It concerns me that the state wants to look at taking our reserves. The flood is a perfect example. We've already spent $177,000 on flood damage. We came in under the FEMA level, meaning we're not going to be compensated. So that was money that we hadn't budgeted. We never dreamed that we'd have another flood in December. So we're going to get through this. We're going to look at whatever needs, you know, if we have to talk to staff about pay. You know, I said this not too long ago, and I read in the paper, you know what? There's no more sacred cows anymore. Everything's on the table. I think we're going to have to take a hard look at it, but this will be, I believe, our toughest year to get through.
How do you feel about the idea of cutting those car allowances?
Well, and also to remember, those car allowances were put in during the last administration. There is a law that says that you can't change someone's pay, a council member or mayor's pay, while they're in office. So let's take the reverse. Let's say that, for instance, before I was mayor, they voted in a raise for the mayor and council. Well, that raise, even when I was on council, I couldn't get that raise for at least 1 year after being mayor. So you can't change someone's pay while they're an elected, and then even if it were a raise, for instance, it couldn't take effect until 1 year after they began their new term. So it's going to be interesting how that plays as far as reducing the travel allowance. What I've heard, I do a lot of travel on behalf of the city. I think it's difficult. The previous administration, the mayor had a city car, and the city paid for the gas and paid for the maintenance and paid for the tires and all of that. I use my own car, so you know, I'm paying for the maintenance, I'm paying for the depreciation, I'm paying for the insurance, all of that. So there is a bit of a difference, and I use my car a lot. But I don't have any problem at all in what I've heard is you drive the miles, you put in an appropriate receipt, and you would be compensated. I don't have any problem with that at all, because I do use it. So if they think if that is appropriate to do away with the so-called travel allowance and then have us actually travel the miles, justify that expense and then get compensated for it, I don't have a problem with that at all, Morris.
I don't think you've ever been given an opportunity to explain your decision on that. Talk a little bit about how you decided to back Harry Reid and what that led to, and talk about what that's going to do to help Mesquite.
Well, I'll tell you, going back when I first became mayor, it was interesting because new people in Washington also got a job. If you'll remember, Dean Heller was brand new. Dina Titus was brand new. Remember, also Mesquite is split, so we get sort of a dual representation. At the time, both Dean Heller and Dina Titus being new, were still trying to find their way around and find out what battles they could fight and where they could, really make a difference. And I can understand that. When you are new, you're trying to get your sea legs, so to speak. What we had is Senator John Ensign and we had Senator Harry Reid. At the first topic that came up, and there are many that I continue to work on that I felt were critical. We had $6 million that had been allocated to the city of Mesquite for a future exit at a proposed GA airport. Those were congressional monies, meaning you have to use them by a certain date or they expire. We wanted to be able to, we didn't think the GA airport was going to get underway as anticipated. We didn't want to lose those $6 million. So I needed help to be able to move those monies to another exit. I had asked for help from Senator Ensign. I asked for help from Senator Reid. Senator Reid came forward and said, I will attempt to help you move those monies. He was successful, and those monies are now available for the future use of Mesquite. That's $6 million. That's huge. Additionally, when I became mayor, I felt that the community wanted to oppose, as I personally did, the coal-fired plant. I wasn't opposed to a coal-fired plant if they wanted to have it in Lincoln County and they wanted to move it back 30 miles next to the rail line. That would have been their choice. But a coal mine 12 miles from Mesquite, for which we would get none of the energy, none of the revenue, and the adverse effects, it was a charge I undertook. Again, Senator Ensign did not choose to move forward on that fight. Senator Reid did. He felt strongly about coal-fired plants, and so we worked on that. Now, does that mean that Senator Reid and I agree on every single thing? No. But you know what? I am a nonpartisan mayor. I have to do what I believe to be best for the city of Mesquite. I think things like successfully opposing the coal-fired plant with his help and the fact that we were able to move $6 million is incredible. What we're now continuing to work on is, under the Mesquite Lands Act, we only have until December 2012. If the EIS on the airport issues, which it is expected to do in the next month or two, we have 3 years to buy the contiguity parcel, and we have 3 years to get underway with constructing the GA airport. I believe that we are not financially prepared to do either of those. I am currently asking for a 4 to 10 year extension on both of those. The problem is we're looking for a Lands Act bill, a vehicle, so to speak. You have to have a bill up in Washington. I am looking for a vehicle. We also have an additional thing. 2 words were left out of our Lands Act: and implementation. All the money that we have collected over all these years for our habitat conservation plan, those 2 words were left out. We could lose all of that money that we have been collecting over all this time to implement it. Again, if we don't find a lands bill, a vehicle, to get these 2 words in, we will lose millions of dollars.
Okay. This is your opportunity to speak directly to the people, why they should vote for Susan Holecheck for mayor.
I think this administration has done very, very well during a very tough economic period. Do other candidates have points? Yes. We want to be business friendly. We want to be proactive and bring those businesses in. We want to provide community services. I think we've started that with expansion of the senior center, changing the museum and the gallery, the sports and events complex, the new ball fields, the splash park. I think we can move ahead. I think once we get through this recovery period, we can work strong. I would like you to vote for me because I think I'm a team player. I think I can work with council. I think I can work with staff. And I think that we can begin to move forward. Mesquite's future is bright. I say that all the time. I'd like to be there to help her move into into our success.